Welcome back, everybody. It is particularly windy this morning, so I guess I apologize for that. If one can apologize for the weather, I I sometime during the night realized sleep is an illusion because I feel like I wake up more tired than I was when I went to sleep. So I was just thinking about working on this and what needed to be done. And I was like, I'll just come out real quick and knock out a chassis brace or two, and it's already gotten quite far away from me. This is, of course, Project Zoidberg. I called the last one the first part. This would be the second part, but it's technically the third part. I don't know. This is the third day of tinkering with this. As you can see, it's completely disassembled. I've cut there's the front bar for the bumper. There's one of the chassis braces. Here's another one of the chassis braces. There's a mount for a chassis brace, mount for another chassis brace. This hole right here is to access the screw on the horn for the dig servo. I have to make new spacers for the dig servo. I'm cutting new rod ends because I don't have anything that is the correct length. So I'm cutting up some old RPM ends, and I will be moving those around. I did find the parts to make matching upper links, and I went far down the rabbit hole into the idea of someone, forgive me for not remembering their screen name, linked me to a video where somebody basically explained the relationship in a four-link of the upper and lower link, and how in general they shoot for a certain percentage of upper link length compared to lower link length, and it's around. I could be remembering this wrong as well, but I remember it as 87%. So I set a goal of getting the upper links to in that ballpark, in the 80% range of the lower links. And I have so many mounting positions, it should not be an issue. So the front is very close. And I am now on the back hole here. So in order to get this to 87%, I think it's at 83. What I'm going to do is put 3 millimeter shorter ends on the lowers on the front, which will pull the whole thing back, and then I should be dead on in the front. The rear is equally close. I think I can just fiddle with the lower rod length. I can't remember if I need to put cut ones on there or dial them down. Anyway, they just need to be shortened ever so slightly. So that's kind of what I'm working on for the moment. I also already stole Jolly Green's steering servo, and SDRC did indeed send me their a ship notification. That should be here in a couple days. I have no worries about the performance of that, as for a couple of weeks, Jolly Green was on an NSDRC RS500 until I decided to switch the Tranquish over to 4S, and then he lost that servo. Anyway, servos get juggled around here all the time. So that will be going on there. Also of note, the cheap Amazon like $15 guy will actually be going in place of my favorite JX 4409 because I found this little receiver box in one of the bins, and it fits pretty well perfectly right there on top of the servo. And as this is running a Fusion, there's no speed control, so I can get this thing pretty tidy, really, once I start shortening the wires and zip tying them into place. But I need to finalize the links before that. Anyway, because of the way the dig servo mounts on here, it runs like right along the edge of the case right there. So on this little mini guy, I've got like that, it's under half an inch of width. And if I just put a full-size guy in there, it's like putting in an electronics tray. So I did throw it on the scale yesterday. and it's like 5 pounds 10 as outfitted. If you put the body on it, it's just under 6 pounds, like 514, 515, something like that. The bar body, the old timey bar body, even full, which the one that comes for this will be cut more. I'll probably have to cut these all the way off. Will be cut more. That body only weighs 5 ounces. So it was not my intention to shed a bunch of weight off of this thing, but that appears to be what has happened. So I just thought I would drop a little update there. I am now going to attack those lower links, and then I can get started putting this thing back together. And the only sort of temporary difficulty in reassembly is the servo mount has this little whoop on it, because no matter how perfectly I set the end links on any of the vehicles that are equipped with this dig gearbox, at a certain point in the dig throw, the whole thing flexes. So that's this hole in the chassis will have a brace that runs all the way through and is mounted through this. So lining up that hole to make a new hole in that is going to be super fun, because I would like that brace to be straight. There is the front. Once I cut this one and realized how heavy it was, I was like, for the rear, we'll just be going aluminum. I unintentionally ended up with the tiniest pinch. There is the differential. This is the front brace that will go here. This is the rear quote-unquote bumper. And then this is the front, what will become a bumper. So the front and rear are 78 millimeters, and the center brace matches the skid, so it's 80 millimeters. This will come out to 80 as well. And I wanted to respace the servo as I'm running a spacer on the ball stud there. But then I did a measurement, and this little shark fin is absolutely dead center right in the middle of the chassis. It's 38.5 millimeters on one side and 38.5 millimeters on the other, which with 3 millimeter plate in the middle means that's 80 millimeters. So it's right there. So I need to get these braces in place. That servo changed. I need to resolder, because I just realized last night, where are you? Look at that. Like, that is not going to do it, because now I'm going to be running 2 direct power servos, and this is like 28 or 30 gauge. So I'm going to have to desolder these ends. I've also got a split in the wire here, so I'm going to cut about 2 inches off the end of that, put a new plug on there, put a new JST orientation. I don't know if I'm just going to solder the 2 servos together. I don't know what I'm going to do. I came out here to just kill a couple minutes, and I mean, this is what happens. This is what always happens. So I'm just trying to keep it straight in my head. Links first. I want to try to get this thing put back together, because I will put this thing back together, because it's extremely windy and the audio is going to be bad, but I'm going to wheel this thing today, because I have to know, does it work? It looks crazy. It looks more crazy when assembled, and I wanted Blue Sky High to work, and he did, but I really want this to work, because this is more of a scratch buildy thing, and I'm not 100% sure of what I'm doing. So I'm going to get some more pieces put together, and then I'll talk some more about the pieces that I put together. The moment of wheeling draws ever closer as it is assembled, and what a difference some chassis braces make. It is rigid. So I fiddled with almost all of the rod ends. I think there are just a couple of them that are still, and none of them match, because what ended up happening is I was putting in rod ends, like that's a Capra. These are, I don't know what. I've got some RPM, old Traxxas RPM ones cut down. These are the ones that came with the extended links for this kit. So what I had attempted to do was cut 3 millimeters from the front and 3 millimeters from the back, taking off 6 millimeters total, as that is a quarter of an inch. And the wheelbase was sitting at 13 and a half, and I wanted to draw that back to the short course wheelbase of 13 and a quarter, 13.2, 13 and a quarter, and it did. While I was doing that, I got the rear upper link into the lower forwardmost position, which got me to 85%. I have a 135 millimeter link on the bottom and a 115 millimeter link on the top. There's absolutely no restriction in travel at all. It is incredibly smooth. Nothing binds at all. That's the sound of the spring rubbing on the, you can see it, pink, 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 catching on the threaded bodies. In the front, the lowers are 138 and the uppers are 122, as I'm in this far back position, which is 88%. The plus here is that those links are perfectly parallel. So once again, it's full range of motion with absolutely nothing coming close to binding with anything. As I had already cut this out and I was starting to put the axles in, I was like, oh no, shouldn't that bump be further forward? But I mean, with the laydown angle of the shocks, there's more than enough clearance. The rear has been cut down to have the exact same overhang as the front, and it's pretty much all good. Front drive shaft angle is as close to perfect as I can get it. Rear drive shaft angle when it's sitting is really close. It's got a little dip down, but I'm very happy with the angle of the rear axle. And then there's the bad stuff. And luckily, it's just a little tiny amount of bad stuff. Most of it involves changing a servo midstream, which is the hole that I drilled to access the horn is now just the tiniest bit off. Does that even show? Yeah, we're talking maybe 3 or 4 degrees off, because the horn position on this servo is not exactly the same horn position as this servo. This one, the spline is just a hair, like maybe 2 millimeters over this way more than it is on that servo. It's no big deal. I can get into a fastener without it deflecting too much. So all that remains now before putting this thing together is we've got all the wiring here dangling for 2 direct power servos. Here are the horns. There's the horn for the dig. There's the horn for the rear. None of these servos have been centered. I have the little receiver box. He will be fitted right there, which I think is fantastico. The entirety of the sprung weight is right here at the lowest possible point. So this weight attaching to here, which is, I mean, nothing, should focus the weight here. I'm going to do another little bendy bit to put the battery on top of the steering servo, just like Gate Rover, meaning the battery is unsprung. So this is all unsprung, this is all unsprung. So the weight on this, the CG, should be really quite low. Essentially nothing exists above this belt line right here. So the shock points mount above that belt line. So the center of gravity is going to be way down. I figure it's going to be down around here. So basically the top of a wheel is about where the CG should be, hopefully. As it is with these shocks, there's effectively there's next to no droop. The way it sits about there. So you've got maybe 5 millimeters of drop, but right there, that's it. That's the suspension all the way down. I had to do a little tweaky twisty on the links to not get those to hit, and they do not. They make contact after the shock is already fully collapsed. So there's a good bit of soldering, and I'm going to have to blow through another big chunk of my bag of zip ties to get these guys out of the way. I also have an antenna tube around here somewhere. Maybe? I have a longer one. Anyway, oh, there it is. As I've developed an affinity for just running the antenna tube down along the side of the chassis. So there might be a couple more holes drilled in here. I might just go off of an unused shock hole. But once I get this wiring situation sorted and the two servos centered, endpoint set, all that, we will get some wheels and tires thrown on this, which will be the showdowns over there. Though, believe me when I tell you, I will run as many sets of tires as is necessary to get this thing to work. Like, this has got to work. My state of mental health is riding on this thing, handling at the worst as well as it did when it had a Capra cage on it. So, I mean, obviously, I hope for more, but, you know, that is indeed for the universe to decide. So I'm going to power up the old Hako. I'm going to get some stuff soldered, get this wiring, an attempt to clean up this wiring, trying not to zip tie too much of it to the chassis, because something tells me I'm going to have to take this apart again. Oh, the other negative I almost forgot. So there's that, and then it's not quite perfectly straight. Like, it's even hard to see through the camera right there, but it deflects. This one deflects the tiniest bit. So I'm guessing when that hole got drilled, it went off just the tiniest bit. This is two pieces with a set screw in the center, and then it's bolted from the sides. Functionally, it doesn't affect it at all. It's extremely rigid. I should have no movement of this servo now. And of course, the little, when it does need to get taken apart, and that's inevitable, that will get ground completely down to match that profile. And that will make me happy, because as it is now, it looks like a little, I don't know what it looks like. But we are this close. We are this close, and we are that close. So some cutting, some soldering, and then some wheeling. If I got to do it in the wind and the rain and whatever, this thing is going on a rock in this video, which means today. Some more time has passed, and during that time, we have arrived. Horns are all in place. The wiring will receive that most coveted award here in the workshop, which is acceptable. It's not great, but I mean, there's a lot of bundle there. I mean, I guess all that could be cut down, but then that sort of lends an air of permanence with which I do not know if I am comfortable. I got the rear set up. While I was doing that, I noticed that I've got, these are out of frame, these are Traxxas rod ends here, and I had axial on the front, and with the axial on the front, this bound before it got to full lock in both directions, so now it does not. And apparently also with it pushing it out, it does something, some sort of steering multiplication, because I had to dial a bunch of endpoint out of the front, and I had to dial a little bit of endpoint into the rear, but now there's no, like, you know, no or so it is where it should be. I left a little gap in the tape to kind of give me a, well, it did have a center. Oh, it's just sliding now. Too many times on and off, I guess. I am going to have to at some point eventually glue that, because it's slipping pretty good now. So let us make sure we have the front. Yes, the amount of wear that is beginning to occur from my good friend, the Type S mortar. It really gets into a tire. Oh, let's put some clutch on that. Yeah, the endpoint difference, the difference in setting endpoint between the little JX servo and the cheapo Amazon, which I'm glad the cheapo Amazon is in there, as it gives a lot more real estate to mount sample box too, and I think it is again acceptable. It could probably be a little more Bert, a couple more Duggas. And there we have it. That is ready to rock and roll. It appears to be sitting fairly level, at least. I feel like I've got the shocks in sort of acceptable positions. This is kind of a crazy angle right here, but I mean, we will see how this does, because I'm going to go ahead and say that right there, that's rock ready. Oh, let's get the old come on out, and how close did I actually get? That is 13. 13 and just under 13 and 3/8, which is what, 13 and 5/16, if we want to get too specific. 13 and 10/32. So it could have gone another millimeter or two shorter, but I think right there, that's going to be great. It's going to be super good. I'm going to have to trim so little out of the front, and like I said, the rears will probably be just cut all the way off because of the amount of flex. I don't want to mount it too high, as the chassis would hang far too low down below it. And for a bumper, I'm not going to need much there in the front. I think this thing is going to be a super cool. So, it's I was driving it around on the floor in here, and I will say, as much as I love that amount of low speed control, I think the 11 might be a little like the 1156 on a 1200 might be the tiniest bit mild. But no way to know until we get out there and do it. So let's get out there and do it. The wind, it comes and it goes. So let's hope it does more going. I don't know how well this microphone will resist it. All right, here we go. Never been on a rock. All right. A little of that, a little of this. I'm not worried yet. I am kind of holding my breath though. Okay, that's something. It's pretty sheer here. Yeah, that just seems like a like I'm not in the kind of spot to get the amount of traction I need. That front is just kind of pawing at that rock. I don't think this is let's try to get around it. Okay, now I'm just sitting on the rear links. So that is that's not I don't think that's a fault in construction. I think that's a fault in driving. Yeah, I'm just sitting it up in the air. Okay. The problem is I need to look directly at it and not keep looking back and forth at the camera to see it. Take a little dig at something I can see a little more clearly. That's much better. Once again, I think the rear steering servo is backwards of how I want it. Let me see. No, it's all right. So far the flex is not hurting.
I'm just gonna go, let's just go for it, you know? Let's get that rear end around that rock. Okay, straighten it out. Oh, it is so bright. Okay, I see where I'm hung. There we go. Got loose. Okay. That's 65% at least. Is it gonna have enough to pull it over? Gotta give it a little something. Oh, dropped in. Nope, straighten that back out. Trying to get that rear end. Trying to operate one tire at a time here. Oh. Come on. Well, that tire's really dropping in. Yeah, there's no there's as Zoidberg was in its prior configuration, like I said, it was a borderline rock bouncer, and now with the pinion that I put in there, it has no bump at all. I think its top speed, the top speed has to be under 3 miles an hour. So it has all the low speed in the world. Oh, there we go. Right, swing it around town. A little more in the rear, a little more in the front. Okay, straighten that rear out. Yeah, honestly, I thought this would be getting hung up more with how low that center it is. It's pivoting on the low spot right there. And see, right there, I desperately wish for a bump, like a little, but there's nothing. It has nothing. Which, I mean, that's okay. That's something that can be easily remedied. Okay, let's get it into a position that's more prone to bad outcome here. Sometimes the brain still defaults to lizard brain, and I can't remember which way to turn steering wheels. Wow, it is. I mean, it is planted. Let's see descenderizing here. Wow, it's what do you call that? Like, it's not droop, so it's all, the suspension is all compression. So it stays low, so it doesn't move the suspension down to grab things, it moves the suspension up. Wow, that is, damn it. I'm allowed one. That's a free one. Okay, let's try a surface a little more mixed. Yeah, steering wheel 2 is just free spinning on the VR knob. Not free spinning, but like when I turn it one way, it doesn't really come all the way back. There, okay. That is, I mean, that is, oh, that was my fault. It is quite composed. I can see where I'm hung up. I cut back the steering too quick and undid my own progress. The highest tire is just in soft dirt. No, more. There. No, don't undo your good works. Ah. This is, if anything, this is user error all the way here. I thought for sure I'd get a little more tip than that. Yeah, the little break I left in the tape is just moving all over the place. It's never in the same place twice. All right, okay. No, I won't four-wheel that crab. I won't four-wheel the other way. I gotta find something for that front end to bite into right there. Okay, try to push it around without pushing it off. Ooh. Ooh. Nope, other way, other way. Oh, rear's still locked. Come on. I see where it's hung. Can I maneuver out of it without it did works. Once again, just the tiniest bump could have it out of that position. You know what? I'm going to grab a pinion and the driver, and I think it was a 14 in before I converted it. So I am gonna put the 14 right back in right now. It took far more time than I would have liked, making my way back into the shop to acquire tools. I had of course left the door open, and there was a hummingbird flying around inside the shop, just absolutely losing its hummingbird mind. So I addressed that issue. Looks very level right here. That's the first time I've managed to get wheel lift. Well, in the like 6 minutes I've driven it. Oh, is she kicking up again? A little here, a little here. Straighten it out. Can I use the tree? Hey, I got bumped now. Oh. Oh. Yeah. That's a nice amount of bump too. Let's just pirouette here. If I don't slide it off. Seeing as I have half the stuff out here, I'm quite tempted to put the berserkers back on and see how it goes on those. Well, let's try some more LCG appropriate stuff here first. My noisy fountain pump over here is a Hazard Fraught Harbor Freight variety. And it's been in there since I started building the course, and does not sound as healthy as it once did. Could have used four-wheel steer there, but I'm half blind from looking from extreme sun into shadow. All right. This is some real test stuff. Still, I mean, I don't feel any real difference in low-speed control going up 3 teeth on the pinion, which is, I mean, was a jump. Went from 5 to 1, over 5 to 1 to flat, even 4 to 1. 1156 to 1456. Yeah, it had no issue there. And there's a thing this guy does not want to do, and that is go fast. But man, it will just hold on like a spider. This should be no issue whatsoever here, but I'm still getting used to suspension that works backwards to what I'm used to. A little more steer. Yeah, I would not have you know, I wouldn't ordinarily think that that approach to that line would be functional. All right, okay, that's not vertical enough. But I've got more. And this is very shadowy. Brighten that up a little. Not much. Just giving it a little gas. A little on the right pedal. No bounce. Okay. So instead of just hammering at it, let's try to get that rear end to do something. Come on guy. I see what I've done to you. I've got that skid just perfectly parked. Okay. Got it a lot rounded, I think. Okay, now we're up out of the dirt. Nice and slow, not a lot of grip on the fake plastic trees. I still think the showdowns are going to be the ticket. I am going to spend a minute or two on the pit bulls after the next obstacle, get around that rock. This is where rear steer is beneficial. There we go. Yeah, it can pick a line. It really, really can. How about on the way back down? Little drop there. I'm gonna go on record and say I think Blue Sky High is descending still just a little bit better, but I don't know how much of that is tire. That sounds like a tractor firing up. This way? Yes. So approach it the other way. Oh, that's just parked on the lower control arms. Come on. You know, it's gonna take me a while, but I'll get the hang of this. The four-wheel steer is this for me is akin to learning a foreign language after my brain has lost all of its neural plasticity. So I'm not driving four-wheel steer so much as I'm driving two-wheel steer twice. I think some of the strangest part for me is I'm so accustomed to how jumpy the Capra was with the Capra gearbox. And now the Capra gearbox is out and it's not jumpy. There's no way. There's no way that we make it up this. I think it's tire though. I mean, that's not rolling. Well, okay, tire and driver. Oh, that right rear is trying so hard to do the work. Right? Oh, but it's pushing it across. Okay, so let's crab a little here. It's right there in between the wheelbase. Less. Oh, you can see it just catch and release. And I think the biggest problem is the left rear is just staying on dirt. Okay, we're up, but it's gonna launch around. It's not gonna get the most difficult line that I've built. Oh, I can feel the lugs on those tires just getting chewed up. Nope, take that rear out and come around the other way. Four-wheel it. Okay, okay. Now let's get that guy. I think the pumpkin's still clear. It is. All right. Getting a little rail slide now. Straighten that rear end out, maybe. No, it still needs to walk it back a little bit. Now straighten it out. Almost. Almost. Oh. You don't know how bad I want this to just drive out of frame to the right. That is just an extreme angle of attack right there. Okay, so the fronts are completely off the ground. I think I'm getting a little something right front. Straighten that out. Yeah, if that's not gonna roll out right there, oh, that's... that was there was no drama there. But already the level of predictability, like I pushed it way past the point of sanity trying to get it to tip over backwards. And you can see that showdown in the rear, it wants to pull up. And that's like vertical, but it's being betrayed by its partner there on the other side as he's down in the dirt. There's a nice little nice pivot move. All right, let's try that straight up transition on the other side of the wall here. Yeah, just keep honing it. Like what kind of angle will it hold? There's some side hill. Oh yeah, the side hill. Let's pull up that vertical onto the side hill. I think this is in this guy's wheelhouse. I also thought that, well, I worried that some torque twist would be introduced, but no, none at all. It's dead flat. And get up onto the dirt. Get up out of the dirt. Little crab attack here. Okay, got to wheel up. And it'll start to push a tire up, and then the tire just goes right back down. That right there. That gives me the chill. Okay, got one up because that left rear is really underloaded. A little dig to push it back down. Straighten this out a little. Yeah, it doesn't even feel like it's on a side hill. All right, let's, how can I spin this around? Nope, other way, other way, other way. All right. Let's hit the slope here, which should be the opposite of a problem. Rear end straight. I don't know where my straight is. Straight enough. Let's come back the other way. Okay, this was a thing that I've tried with a number of vehicles in the past. And holding this, well, I mean, tipping off. So it would appear that ZOIDBERG now has enough grip that he's not rolling out because of a CG issue. He's rolling out because he's not rolling out. He's not going to roll out at all. But there's slip occurring because the tires just don't have enough absolute grip. Like, his CG is not going to make him tip, but the tires, I mean, to say tires are the limiting factor seems an absurd phrase, but tires here, like, you could see the rear end there just cut loose a little bit. So it's not a gravity tip, it's a grip tip. Can we just straight breach? Other way. That's a bad spot. Okay, let's get it a little more this way. There we go. Well, that rock is right in the wheelbase. Come on, bite it up. I can't really tell what is stuck, but it's stuck good. I think I was just on that little ridge back of this rock right here. All right, what do we got? That's not possible. That's not possible. I can't make it up that. There's no grip, right? Like, I shouldn't. There's no way I can make it up that, right? Correct. Let's just throw some other tires on there and give it a whirl. I still can't get over how good the Berserkers look. I don't know if it's the all blacked out wheels or just that little bit of extra height. It's something, but I just love the way they look, and I want them to do better than the showdowns just because I want to run them again. But they feel, I mean, I'll go on record and say it's too early to judge, but they do feel like they're given a little bit of pure grip. Let's see right here. The nose lift is the big indicator, and none. So that's good. All right, CG will raise because the tire is taller. Damn steer knob fell off again. Yeah, there's got to be a better solution to this. This works, but it's like it's going against the radio's nature. I like the location of it. I don't want to glue the knob to the pot. All right, let's just do the same thing. I'll go down and come around. Oh, I like that. I liked that. I don't know if it was in frame, but I liked it. Right, same story. Up the face here and then pivot it around. Well, I mean, these already feel... the Berserkers are doing far better than they did when they were on a Capra proper. This build is something that will never, ever, ever roll all the way over out of a flip. And I don't even need to see the replay. I had the rear at full lock and basically just power rolled it. Because I needed to get up to here and go to the steer, and then right here went to the full lock too quick. Now, more steer. Then straighten it out, yes. Just gliding a little there in the front. But it feels as absolutely planted. And if anything, you'll notice little bit of scuffle there in the front. But I feel like, and this is with a lot of lock into it, so there's far less. There we go. Had to prove me wrong. Had to roll all the way out of it. Back to the pantheon of absolute grip. See if it's easier to get this up out of the dirt on these tires. Once again, in between the wheelbase, but oh, right there, that was a moment there of just very, very nice. Ooh, the Berserkers I'm seeing there in the rear come real close to the rear shock at full lock. All right, that's gonna drop off, I can tell. Yep. I don't know. I feel like the Berserker, once a little more setup is done and a little more tuning, I think the Berserker might be a more absolutely capable tire, but it comes at a cost, which is their predictability at the limit is not as good. The showdowns are more forgiving. These will go harder and grip more at the expense of you're gonna roll out more. Not just because they're taller. Oh, nope, the front end was forcing it down. Oh, wow. That was worth it, because that was just a dig drop. I hit the dig and the weight instantaneously transferred and it fell off. Oh, it wants it so bad. It wants it so bad, but look, that left rear is just on vertical. I don't think there's anywhere to bump here that won't just push it right back over backwards. Nope. Little pivot, get it under. Can I cut under? Can I cut under and not roll out? Oh, it's so hard to get. That transition is tough. Ooh. Oh, that was nice. Little belly hang there. This way. How about some of this? That's gonna try to force that nose up. Yes, it is. Oh, you know, as with most of these, I could just wheel it all day. So instead, as a compromise, let's not do that. Let's throw this down on the bench and put a final thought on it and wrap this second part, third first part, whatever this ends up being.
So I'll say I'm definitely pleased. I think it came out remarkably well. Mostly because it required pretty much nothing in the way of troubleshooting, and it was just straight to tuning and adjustment. And the link positions that I landed on, based on what I learned from that video, it seems pretty good. I mean, there's some tinkering to be done for sure, but with me, that's just going about blind, because if I move this from that hole to that hole, what does that do? I don't know. I feel like the rear, I might have just accidentally landed on the way the rear links need to be set. As to the suspension setup, I don't even know. I have 2 other sets of shocks that I would like to try, and it's a quick and painless process to throw them on there. I don't know, are these too soft? The front feels good. The back feels too soft, but is it? I mean, the only way for me to do this is to throw a stiffer spring on or some heavier oil and see how it reacts. because the front feels pretty much perfect. I think in actuality, the upper link in the front needs to be about 2 millimeters shorter, really, just to get the pumpkin angle just right. It's standing up a little, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. Now that I'm looking at the top of that battery, it looks pretty flat. So dig works. That is the noisiest. That's what you get for the $16. But it works, and it holds. You can watch it just pull that rear end down. So there's no problem with the operation of the dig. There's no interference in any parts of the suspension. I love the look of it with the berserkers on it. I think the berserkers will go tremendously with that guy, which would actually be about there, I think. So the arbitrarily chosen frame rail lengths appear to have worked out reasonably well. I will, I don't know, I'll figure out some way to mock up a front bumper here, and then I want to take more of the rail off so that it's back closer to the rod. Same for the rear. I just put aluminum on the rear, mostly due to the weight. I still want to get some sort of anti-tip, like just something that comes down about that far to stop it from rolling all the way backward. There's all sorts of little bits of tuning that need to be done now, which is, I mean, that's kind of the fun part. That's a good gouge. I don't think the body is really going to impact the handling drastically. I ordered the body through Horizon. They either shipped it or didn't. I can't really tell from from what the order says. I want to mess with gearing a little more because it feels better with a 14, but I feel like it could go higher. And I can go a teensy tiny bit higher. It's got a 56 spur in there. I'm pretty sure I have a brand new 54. I also have a bunch of 48 pitch. I've got a brand new, still in the plastic, 84 tooth 48 pitch, which I might try. It doesn't seem like this guy's got enough pop to be ripping up spur gears, so 48 pitch might be in the cards. I'm amazed that all the steering seems to work, short of the VR knob on the RC4 is it's got a little concerning. It's got a little flop to it because I mean it's just coming off of a tiny little pot in there. So I'm hoping that I'm not like loosening that up off the board. Yee. But so many things to try. I think for the foreseeable testing future, it will be the Berserkers, mostly because I love the look of them, and partially because, as I mentioned just a few short minutes ago, they seem to have more grip at the limit. The Showdowns are easier to drive, those fellas, easier to drive and more forgiving, and I don't know if that's because of the little bit of height differential. I mean, it's not a huge amount. I don't know if it's that these are a little firmer on their foams and these are a little squishier. Whatever it is, these seem like they will take me further, but it's not going to be as easy to get there. Also, I love these wheels. I just love those wheels. So, that ends this. The second part of Project Zoidberg, who is now, it's a thing. There's a little bit of finishing still need to be done. There's a little bit of fabrication still need to be done. And there's a whole lot of tuning. that still needs to be done. And that'll probably be what the next part of this one is, will be just the tuna palooza, where I just try all manner of different things, but one at a time, critically. Like if I'm going to try different shocks or different springs or whatever, just do that and then move from there. I think the actual links and the rest of the setup is reasonably well sorted. I'm pretty pleased with it. There are no wires hanging down in the spur gear. I will do the close up and personal math and see what switching to the 84 in 48 pitch, because I have a larger choice of 48 pitch pinions, so I have more fidelity in the adjustments. I want to try the different shocks. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to try. Oh, and in the fabrication line, I need to make the little U-shaped bracket like what Gate Rover has to stop the battery. Although the battery did not move at all. At all. And the clearance is, it's right there. That's at full throw, and that's at full throw. So the battery is right there. It genuinely came out better than I could have expected, better than I could have anticipated. And I'm super happy with it. I'm excited to see how it's going to do in its fully completed form whenever this arrives. And I don't know what color to paint it. I mean, the easy option seems red. I mean, it's Zoidberg. I could do it red. But I do like green things. I don't know. If anybody, I mean, I'm cheap, but it's a can to paint a bar, so I might go like proper RC car paint. We will see, and time will tell. So, thanks for watching this one. I hope it was at least moderately entertaining. Again, I apologize for the weather and the wind. Leave a comment down below. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. Please do tune in for the next one, as there will definitely be a next one of this. I'm having a great time. And thanks again for watching, everybody.